Hello, everybody. Today we are actually going to be reviewing Avatar yet again, but this time it's going to be the re-release edition because I have the special Blu-rays collector's edition on obviously Blu-ray. I don't know why I had such a hard time getting that out, but anyway, so there was a few like I said in my review of just a theatrical release, there was a few sort of small things that I did notice in the movie that I don't think I picked up on the first time. Obviously the names of things, because this movie is huge and there's so much to remember in a long span of time because this movie is almost 3 hours long. Just the theatrical version alone is almost 3 hours long. So um, yeah, very hard time remembering all the names. But I believe there's three different trees that they consider sacred to the planet Pandora, and the first tree, which I had such a hard time remembering because it's the one that's like I would say the most iconic to the movie. Obviously, was the home tree, which is the one that ends up getting destroyed by the Sky People, and then they had the Tree of Voices, which was the one that I talked about that they used to transfer the human body to the avatar body permanently through Awa. And then the third tree from the battle scene at the very end was the spirit tree, which I guess was their direct connection to Awa and everything that they believed in, like their deity and so on and so forth. Um, so there was a few little things that I picked up on in the movie. Like it wasn't like the scenes that I thought would have been extended, like the battle scenes and stuff. I didn't really notice anything different. Maybe there was, but I don't think there was anything really big in the battle scenes um, that were that were extended. Maybe it just wasn't noticeable because the battle scenes are just so long and so epic as it is that maybe you don't pick up on those as much. But I did notice that the research scenes, which I thought were kind of interesting, were the ones that were a little bit longer. So they go into like the school and you see the bullet holes in the school. So I'm assuming that the military probably came in and put a shutdown uh, to them learning English. Because all they really care about is getting the mineral called the unobtainium from underneath the tree that the avatars call home tree, and that's like the biggest. They're sitting on the biggest deposit of it, obviously, and you can kind of see the destruction that they're already doing to Pandora when they first fly in the new set of Marines, and obviously Sam Worthington's character Jake when they fly him, and you can see the destruction they're already doing just by mining the mineral from the planet. And it seems that they're just really causing a whole bunch of destruction to a new planet because obviously we kind of just it seems that they just want to kind of take over this planet and make it like another livable human planet. But I think they probably should listen to who is indigenous to the land, obviously, because they would know best, and yeah, they're kind of just driving them out of their home. And at least the researcher, or at least the main guy who was kind of in control of everything, Parker, you can tell again that he had some regrets about what he was doing closer to the end of the movie. And then obviously he gets kicked off the planet, and I'm actually surprised that wasn't one of the ones that stayed. I guess a few people stayed, but um, I guess really they were the aliens to the planet, right? So not a lot of people stayed. They decided to leave after obviously they lost the battle, and the colonel was, I guess, supposed to be dead, but it looks like he's back in the next four movies. So it's interesting. I guess there's a lot of questions to be answered, right? Obviously, as to who's dead and who's not, because we don't really see we see one of the characters run off. Norm, played by Joel David Moore, just runs off at the end. So I'm not really sure where she would have ended up going, or where he would have ended up going, my bad. And who else do we have kind of questions about? Well, obviously, Corporal Lyle Wainfleet is dead, and I would believe that Michelle Rodriguez's character is Trudy is dead. I don't think she's back for any of the other movies. Would have been cool to have her in some of them. Um, Obviously, and Sigourney Weaver's character somehow comes back. So I'm not sure whether she's voicing an avatar in the second movie or what. because she's in the next four, so it's very interesting to see how they're going to bring back some of these characters, or maybe she'll be like maybe a voice of the tree. That could be kind of cool. Something along those lines. So this is the re-release version that I'm doing with 8 minutes of additional footage. And they kind of had a little bit of talking about some of the creatures, like Grace talking about some of the creatures as they're kind of going along before they land in the forest, and obviously the scene where Jake sees the flowers for the first time and touches them, and they all disappear, and the creatures come at him. And then he has to survive through the night against more, against more, and then that's when he meets Neytiri, and I guess it's yeah, Taruk was the big was the thing that I guess chooses one avatar every so many. I don't know how Neytiri explained it exactly, but I guess it shows her father, and I guess it's kind of like you're like the chosen avatar of the group if this Taruk chooses you, and Jake ends up being the one who is able to make the bond with it. So kind of a crazy moment, and then obviously Tusei decides that he will actually fly with him, even though Tusei and Neytiri were supposed to be together, but then she ends up falling in love with Jake after all the training and so on and so forth. And yeah, I think that was really it. It was kind of just like smaller things throughout the movie that were a little bit extended. Um, I don't think there was anything really with the video logs that was extended, and yeah, like the main story kind of, it was just little type, like cosmetic things that they kind of added, similar to like what they did with the extended version of King Kong, the 2005 one, but I think they kind of did a little bit more with that than they even did with this movie. Yeah. I mean, it just kind of gave a little bit more to the backstory, I suppose, with this, kind of like you're kind of more immersed in the uh, with the avatars, and you're kind of feeling a little bit more for their side, I suppose, just from those little scenes, right? Which is kind of crazy. And then obviously, I think maybe it showed Jake learn a little bit more of their ways, uh, and yeah, I felt kind of a little bit more connected with his character, even though it was such a small amount of scenes that were in the movie. But I guess it kind of showed a little bit more of what he was learning, maybe, as the movie went along, and kind of why he decided to choose his. I think he kind of chose his side when they were in the school, when he saw the bullets and realized that maybe the military guys weren't who they were saying they were, and they didn't really care how they were going to obtain the unobtainium. Kind of a crazy sentence. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there was too much that was extended in this movie, other than those like couple things that I kind of picked up on, like those two little things, and they were only like maybe like a minute scenes. So like yeah, it kind of just extended the movie just enough, because the original runtime on this is 242 and this was 250. But maybe I'll have to go back and watch it again just to see what else I was missing. But I also wanted to touch on the one scene with after the tree falls and he goes back into the pod to reconnect with his avatar body, and just the color contrast between him and the ashes. It looks black and white almost in the screen behind him, but I don't think it is. I'm not really sure how they did that effect, whether they made the rest of the screen black and white and him blue to really make him stand out, and then at some points in time he almost looked gray himself, so it was kind of a cool contrast transition in that scene. And I mean obviously this movie was just like way ahead of its time, and the scene, I didn't even notice this, the footsteps, every time they walk, wherever they're stepping, it glows with their footsteps. So I guess the land kind of is tracking them as they go along, which was a really cool feature to put in the movies. There's so many little things that the more you watch this, the more you notice. And then the seeds from the tree choosing him, and then Neytiri realizing that that was a sign, so she takes him back to Tootsie and her father and her mother, and they kind of decide whether he's going to become one of the people, and his father, or her father, says that this is like the first warrior uh, warrior that they've ever seen come from the sky people that have connected with an avatar. I can't remember what they called them, demons and aliens. And then at one point, Tootsie says something about him being I think a demon in like a false body or something along those lines. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what he said, but yeah, definitely, definitely this movie is almost even sadder the second time around for some reason. Yeah, I mean, just such an iconic film, and yeah, again, so ahead of its time. And yeah, I even give that. I mean, I know what my rating's going to be, 10 out of 10 still for this one. This is kind of a shorter review, I guess, because I'm talking about more what was extended in the movie as opposed to the actual movie itself as a whole. So I think I'm actually going to leave that here because I think I've pretty much touched on everything that I can anyway. Kind of just remembering the names of some of the creatures and uh, I mean, I think other people besides Trudy could have chosen the other side, like maybe her crew on her ship, but they definitely ended up choosing the wrong side because obviously Awa ended up hearing Jake's call, and all of the creatures from the land just come and absolutely demolish the entire Sky People army. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see in December what they do with the second movie and how they're going to bring certain people back. And yeah, I'm just really pumped, and obviously pumped to go see uh, the theatrical re-release, although they haven't updated the Cineplex site, so fingers crossed that they do here soon. And yeah, I'm gonna go watch the extended director's cut now, which is almost 3 hours long. So with 16 minutes additional footage. So we'll see if there's anything different in this one, or if it's just like a couple kind of small things that you have to pick up on and really pay attention to the film again. So yeah, I'm gonna go watch that, and then I will review it. So I will see you guys in the next review. Bye bye for now.